Travel is changing in 2025, and if you're planning to fly, there are some major updates you are going to want to know about. From the long-awaited enforcement of the Real ID in the US, to how you can renew your passport, new European travel requirements, new airline passenger protections, and new Apple technology that will help with lost luggage. There's a lot to cover. Oh, and American Airlines is tackling the chaos of boarding with some clever tech that I really need your opinion on. Let's dive into these updates so you are prepared for your travels in 2025. It really seems like this has been years in the making, but apparently it's finally coming to fruition, and that is the enforcement of the Real ID in the United States. On May 7th, 2025, US travelers must be Real ID compliant to board domestic flights. Can you believe that the Real ID Act was passed by Congress way back in 2005? And it's nearly 20 years later when they're actually going to start enforcing it. Or so they say. You might be wondering if you currently have a Real ID or not. The best way to tell is that in the upper part of your ID, you should see a star-shaped marking. So if you have that marking, you are good to go and you should have nothing to worry about come May 7th. If you don't have that marking, I would recommend planning to head over to your local DMV as soon as possible, especially if you plan to travel in 2025. I would also recommend doing some research before heading to your DMV on exactly what documentation will be needed, because states can differ a bit in their requirements. One final thing that you should also know is that if you do not have a Real ID come May 7th and you do plan to travel, you will need to bring some other form of identification, like a passport or a trusted traveler card. Oh, and actually one more thing. The Real ID does not replace a passport, so you will still need a passport if you plan to travel internationally. Speaking of passports, there has been a huge update when it comes to renewing your passport, which is that the renewal process can now be done online. This prevents you from having to go through the painstaking process of mailing in your photo and all those really important documents. It always kind of made me nervous to send all of that personal information through the mail. Not to say online is any safer, but still. A couple of things that you should keep in mind when doing your passport renewal process online. The first is that this process takes time, so make sure that you plan accordingly. They are saying that a routine process can take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks to receive your new passport, which excludes mailing time, so make sure you plan ahead. The second thing is that there are specific requirements that you will need to meet for an online renewal of your passport, including things like the passport you are renewing is or was valid for 10 years, and you are age 25 or older, you live in the United States, but there's a few more. All of these requirements must be met to renew online. All this information can be found on travel.state.gov, and I'll make sure to link it in the description below so you can find all that information there. Do you plan on traveling to Europe in 2025? If so, you should get familiar with something called ETIAS, which stands for the European Travel Information and Authorization System. ETIAS is a new pre-travel authorization requirement for visa-exempt travelers entering the Schengen area in Europe.
Right. So why don't you explain what that is to this so they can understand? Yeah, just explain what that is.
Explain what you think that is.
Okay. Just explain that.
Citizens of visa-exempt countries, including the United States, Canada, Australia, and others who plan to visit the Schengen zone will need to submit the ETIAS application. Okay, cool, but what the heck is the Schengen area? The Schengen area, including popular tourist destinations like France, Germany, Italy, and Spain. But not to get this confused with the countries in the EU, as though it is a similar group of countries as the Schengen area, it differs a bit. The application process is supposed to be simple, asking for some basic personal information and travel details. The application costs $7 or free if you're under 18 or over 70 years old. I believe the whole idea of this is to better track the millions of travelers each year coming into this Schengen region. They also claim that it'll help streamline the border security process. Overall, I don't think there's too much to worry about here with this new rule. Now keep in mind, this new rule has not gone into effect yet, though it is expected to roll out in late 2025. Another new and what I believe to be positive update comes from the US Department of Transportation. In late 2024, they implemented new regulations to enhance consumer protections for airline passengers. Lots of rules and regulations were updated, but one of the key changes requires airlines to provide automatic refunds for cancellations or significantly delayed flights. This is a big deal because it used to be such a hassle to know who to call or who to talk to if your flight was canceled or delayed if you needed a refund. Also, in most cases, the airlines were not even required to give you a refund. So either you wouldn't get your money back or you were given a voucher or something like that. Now, with these new regulations, airlines are required to refund you within 7 business days, whether the delay or cancellation was the airline's fault or not. So, for example, if your flight gets significantly delayed due to weather, you are still obligated to a refund. There are also new rules regarding lost luggage or delayed baggage and services not provided like broken Wi-Fi. I actually made a whole video going into detail about all of these new rules and regulations that I would recommend checking out so you can know all of your rights as a traveler. I'll make sure it's linked below in the description. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far and you're finding it valuable, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps us know what videos to make as well as help support our channel. There's really nothing worse than losing your baggage, and it seems with the increase in people traveling these days, it is happening more and more. Benefits of traveling with just a carry-on, wink wink. I can't wink, so I'm just gonna say it. But anyway, Apple just released a new feature that might help with lost baggage a bit. Apple has introduced a new feature called Share Item Location, allowing users, anyone with an Apple AirTag, to securely share location of their AirTags or any other Find My network accessories with third parties, including airlines. So how does this work? When you place an AirTag in your checked luggage, you can share the item's location with the airline if the bag is delayed or mishandled. This is done by generating a link through the Find My app, which provides the airline with real-time location updates on an interactive map. They also say that the location sharing process is designed with privacy in mind. The shared link automatically expires after 7 days or once the item is recovered, ensuring that the airline cannot continuously track the item beyond the necessary period. Apple is partnering with 15 airlines for this integration, including airlines like Delta, United, and Air Canada. Being that I've not personally used this new integration yet, I can't speak to how effective it is, but the whole idea behind it is to make the process of finding your bag more efficient and transparent. So it might not be a bad time to get yourself some AirTags to start putting in your luggage. Have you ever heard of the term gate lice? Gate lice is a term that was given to passengers who crowd the boarding zone and board the plane before their zone is called. Gate lice often create congestion and frustration for both fellow travelers and airline staff. This can cause delays and block the boarding process for those with priority access or earlier boarding groups. So, American Airlines is doing something about this. American Airlines is trialing a new technology at a few select airports where passengers who try to board ahead of their assigned boarding zone will set off an air beep, alerting the gate agent and also those fellow travelers around them. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is going to work? And if so, will other airlines adopt this new technology when boarding? I kind of like it. A little public shaming never hurts anyone. Also, personally, I don't mind being in the later boarding zones as I don't have to sit on the plane as long. Though I could see it being very frustrating if you paid to board early, or you earn the right to board early through status and somebody who didn't earn that right cuts right in front of you. That would be annoying. I will say though, mistakes do happen. So it would be kind of a bummer if you truly accidentally boarded in the wrong zone and you get the alarm pulled out on you. Let's be honest, sometimes it can be hard to hear the boarding announcements or know where to stand, so mistakes can happen. I would say that airlines should take a good look at their boarding process before adopting this, meaning clear and loud boarding instructions, clear directions on where to stand, and even better yet, updating or improving the app with real-time boarding instructions. But I would love to hear your thoughts on this, on what American Airlines is doing, and if we are going to start seeing this across more airlines and more airports. Thanks so much for watching this video, and don't forget to go watch the video we made about the new rules and regulations from the Department of Transportation. You want to make sure that you're getting all the refunds you deserve and that you know your rights as a traveler. So I'll make sure to link that below. If you enjoyed this one though, please give it a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to our channel for more content like this. We will see you in the next video. Whew.